Put waves onto Japan's eastern shore. This is Onahama City, which is near the epicenter. Cars, boats, even some buildings being swept away by the water. Thankfully, people were given the tsunami warning. But the damage is extreme. A large fire has also erupted at the Cosmo oil refinery in Ichihara City near Tokyo. And as you can see, it is burning out of control. Let's get the latest now, and we want to go to CBS News radio correspondent Lucy Kraft. She joins us by phone from Tokyo. Lucy, tell us what you're seeing and what the situation is right now in Tokyo.
Well, we're continuing to feel aftershocks every 20, 30 minutes or so. The walls are continuing to shake. It's pretty amazing. We've never had an earthquake quite like this one that had this kind of longevity. So it's pretty amazing and frightening, to tell the truth.
Have you been able to take a look at any of the damage?
No, I walked from the parliamentary building complex, which is about half a mile from our office in central Tokyo. And the mood at that point was, I wouldn't say there was any sense of panic or real concern, but it was a quite unusual sight to see the buildings just emptied out. If you walk through central Tokyo on any normal weekday, you don't see that many people out. But this was, buildings had been completely evacuated. Restaurants, shops, everything was emptied out. People were just kind of milling around on the streets. So it was a very kind of eerie sensation.
Yeah, buildings evacuated obviously because of aftershocks and the fear there. But were you able to see any buildings that had collapsed, had crumbled, anything like that?
No, this is a very new part of Tokyo in terms of building structures. Most of the structures, you don't see any kind of old-fashioned wooden buildings that are most prone to damage. And this is not in an area that would be considered earthquake-prone, so or vulnerable, I should say, to shocks.
What about the aftershocks? I want to talk about that for just a second. Are you feeling a lot of them?
Yeah. I would say every 20, 30 minutes or so, the walls are shaking. We're hearing a lot of creaky noise from that, so yes.
So where you are, it sounds like the buildings have been fortified to withstand something like this. But what about the smaller cities to the northeast? How well prepared are they? Because we are looking at some video that is truly remarkable, not only of the widespread damage there, but also of the tsunami that has caused a lot of damage as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, if you go out of the major cities, there's a lot of old structures that are made of wood, and those just fall apart instantly. And if it's an area that's prone to landslides or mudslides, even areas that are of recent vintage are vulnerable. There were shots, I don't know if you saw, of Disneyland. The parking lot is completely covered in mud now. That's sort of bubbled up from the ground. So even new structures are not completely safe.
What was the warning system like? Did you get enough warning in advance to be able to get out of harm's way?
Yeah, I was in, as I mentioned, in the parliamentary buildings, and there were constant announcements from the emergency crisis center. Every large building has a crisis center fully staffed around the clock, and they were constantly making announcements saying that there's a massive earthquake going on, and this is what's going on. The elevators are stopped. You have to take the stairs, that sort of thing.
Okay, but does that happen in the rural areas? Because we're looking at video of these rural areas that is just seeing widespread damage.
Yeah, normally the locality, the local offices have an emergency center, and they will be making announcements that are broadcast over loudspeakers. Sometimes they have handsets, radio handsets that are in homes if it's a very rural area. Normally people will be notified that way.
Okay, and we're getting word right now, again, information is coming in very quickly.
We have an aftershock again right now.
Oh, you're feeling it right now?
Yeah.
Tell me what you're experiencing. Walk me through it.
Yeah, well, it's not strong enough so that I can't stand up and walk around, but the walls are creaking and things are kind of swinging around.
Right, I mean, we want you to get out of harm's way.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's a weaker aftershock.
Okay. Do I need to give you a second?
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're good.
Okay, very good. Like I said, we're getting information that is streaming into CBS right now, and one of the wire reports is saying that the chief government spokesman says Japan is sending troops to the quake-hit area. Have you heard any more about that?
No, I've just seen that report too. I haven't heard anything more. Perhaps you've seen the Prime Minister has given a public address saying that, basically they're working on it, and they stopped all diet deliberations. The Parliament was in session. They immediately closed down and set up the emergency office to deal with the crisis.
Any word on injuries, death toll, things along those lines?
It's still early. We've heard just a few scattered deaths so far. We had a report, for example, 30 people have been reported injured in central Tokyo alone, most of these from a building that collapsed. But I'm sure the death toll is unfortunately going to be quite steep from this, particularly in the most affected area in northeastern Japan.
Yeah, we've been talking about Japan, obviously very affected by this, the epicenter being there in Japan, but this is also causing tsunami warnings to go throughout parts of Asia. I mean, this is really widespread.
Yeah, I mean, it's of course it is widespread, but it's also very unusual even for the entire Japanese archipelago to be affected. You have to remember that Japan is a group of islands, stretches from northernmost almost to Russia, all the way down to the south in Okinawa, and all of the islands have been warned about.
It is quite remarkable,
tsunami.
and it's still underway right now. We will continue to follow this story. Stay right here with CBS News.